So I was having a little Uno time with someone, and she was pulling down my drawers, and she wanted to change the rules a little bit, be a little experimental, and she was trying to be a little wild card type of gal. And she asked me, "What do you want me to try on you?" And I said, "Since you're back there, why don't you draw too?" Welcome to episode 17 of Often Beats. I'm your host, and not gonna lie, a little irritated. I recorded episode 16 a little bit ago. The audio version is up, but the video had it didn't record the audio at all. I didn't have the mic thing all the way in, so it literally got none of it. So there's gonna be no video for episode 16, which is a shame because I went in on that fucking cunt, Caitlyn Jenner, treating homeless people like they're like a lot of people do homeless people, unfortunately. And I put her back on track because she attracts to her, except she won in the men's version back in the day. But yeah, this is currently not a great night for the boy. But you know what? Hey, life goes on. You make the most of it. And damn, I'm bright as hell. Am I bright? Hold on, let me turn down the lighting real quick. This is not planned at all. But god damn, I am a bright motherfucker. Sorry about that. In case you can't tell, I'm pretty much a self-producer over here. Probably shouldn't be. I am not qualified at all for any of this. Yeah, things, sometimes you turn life a certain way and it's too much to handle. You get indoors you shouldn't, or you get shut behind them. Things typically take care of themselves. At least that's what we are taught and shown. Damn, I'm really bright. Shine bright like a diamond. Except the only diamonds I've ever had in my hands were Fox. Miss Diamond Fox. Is there really a difference between the 3 or the 4 X's? I don't know. It's all the same to me. I don't watch that stuff because you know what? I'm a child of God. And if you reverse God, I'm a dog. Ruff, ruff. There's a lot of big fucking dogs in this world. I'm going to do a deep dive study on this. I took notes on it about a month ago, but you people that neuter and spay your animals, I don't want to hear shit from you talking about my dog is like my child. Oh, my child. And you take a picture with a filter on with his tongue sticking out because he's a golden retriever and he just wants to retrieve love. All you do is use him. It's really not that much. It's not as bad as when people exploit children for like YouTube and Instagram and make money because their child is the sole focus of it all. And they force their kids to work like child labor laws, except, you could justify it behind the putting food on the table for them. It's like, or you get a job like most other people and, make a living that way as well. But we can't talk about that. We just cannot, can we? Nike, check it. Under Armour, I wear under the armor. But then Swiss, nothing but whoo. And then we wear Reeboks, and then we act like we rebox it when we send it back to the outlet. There's just a lot of things that really I struggle with, I think imposter syndrome is is one of those things where it's kind of ironically in the name. Like, what are you being an imposter of? Like, what do you really feel like you don't deserve? Like, do you really feel like you're not worthy to be where you're at? It's funny how people only use imposter syndrome when it's, oh, I reached the heights I don't feel I deserve. So what is it called when you are way below where you think you deserve? Is that imposter syndrome, or is that reality? I don't know. I do not know. You can charge credit cards, but you can't charge. You can't take charge. We could charge things that have no lack of benefit in the end. You say, I'm your number one fan, but somehow you're not the coolest person in the room. You swing left and right, but you don't swing when it matters most with your right. Defending your girl. A guy comes up to your girl, smacks her in the ass. Ooh. Pierces them cheeks. Pierces it so much he makes it into an eclair. He places his seam up the seams. He puts that two-seamer right up in there. Right in front of you. But you're a good guy. You don't promote violence. Is that defending your girl, or are you fighting a battle that's going to be lost eventually? Because she likes it when he smacked her ass. He's going, and she's going to like it when she gets that spread bald eagle and calls it veggie cream cheese, when in reality he's about to put her in a vegetative state. All cream, but cut the dairy out. Because how dare he fatten my girl's cheeks up? How dare he? You could buy all the English muffins you want, but he's already topped hers. He's already buttered up her muffin. No matter how many fresh strawberries and blueberries you're going to put on there to make yourself feel better, because you got fresh fruit. Yeah, fuck that fresh fruit. She just got a whole slab of frozen. He gave her bags and bags of that frozen fruit. While you over there picking the right blueberries and strawberries, he just grabbed a bag of that mixed fruit and gave her all the different things. But you know what? You give her that delicate fruit. But he gives her that ones that makes her want to freeze his, little species. It's a crazy one we are, though. It's crazy. It's really, really an abnormal species we are when you really break it down. Break it down. Is it just me? Holy shit. Hold on. This shit is really bright. God damn it. I'm so sorry about that, guys. I know. Alright. Sorry about that, guys. Jesus Christ. I just made it where at least my face doesn't look like Two-Face off the Dark Knight after he gets burned when the Joker's like, boom, in the hospital. By the way, Aaron Aaron Eckhart. It would have been amazing if on The Dark Knight 2, Aaron Eckhart would have came back and just been the only face of Two-Face. The irony of that character is he seems to got the wrong side of the coin. And the Batman movies really haven't been the same. Batman vs Superman, Ben Affleck, yeah, that's just not it. It's been Gone Girl for a long time. There is no shit. What is that fucking movie? I don't know. Who fucking cares? It's only with Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, and Robin fucking Williams. Oh yeah, there's no goodwill when you're hunting for very specific people and very specific things. If you're into very, very specific things. So, if you're playing Yahtzee, you have all these triangle dice in this cups, which is kind of weird how in a board game they give you fucking cups. Talk about pouring it on the competition when it gets out of hand. You're like, Yahtzee, bitch. Anytime, like, I can just see Dave Chappelle playing any fucking board game. Yahtzee, bitch. Or he passes go. Give me my 200, bitch. Playing Battleship. Gotcha, bitch. Fuck your Navy. Shout out to the Navy. I am wearing a navy blue winter hat, even though it was 108 degrees today. The only thing hotter than the temperature outside is the currency of heat transportation between my ball sack and my right and left thigh gap. Peace, love. I need more gap. But is comfort overrated? Maybe comfort is my thing that holds. Comfort is the thing that holds me back. It holds all of us back. Sometimes we get too comfortable in positions. We're afraid to let the moist for the audio out there. Moist. Shout out to Kevin. I hope you're hearing moist. Just the moisture, the perspiration, the stickiness, the smell. There's no better smell than when you take a nice, good, clean credit card swipe from the bottom up in between, the seams. No better smell than that. It's like a combination of the fart bubbles mixed with your Fruit of the Loom. Certain fabrics, when you've been wearing it for 9 hours to get through your shift, probably farting in at least 6 or 7 times. Mixture of hot gases. Maybe just slightly a little liquid come out. Nothing, show, but, it's one of those hot, sweaty farts. So, it literally smells like what you eat. It's like the old moniker that says, like, if you eat a lot of greasy food when you sweat, like, it literally smells like greasy food. I don't think that's true because I've sweated after eating all types of things. Typically, it's not the sweat that smells. It's you start passing gas while you're doing activities, and it kind of, murks off things. It kind of leaks like the oil gas in the middle of the ocean where it looks like Dante's Inferno, even though I never saw it, but I would only assume if the word Inferno is in it, it's fire. It's a gas, solid, liquid type of fire. I guess you mix all those things, you combust underwater. Maybe it's really like the Little Mermaid is coming to life. Fuck Atlantis. That's what it is in the Mermaid, right? Atlantis. If that really did exist, though, if Atlantis really did exist for, like, the mermaid in, like, real life, I think that's one of those things, like, the FBI, CIA, and all of them, they hide information from us, like the UFOs. I think we can be okay and fine if we learn about the UFOs. If we find out that underwater is a whole Atlantis, is a whole mermaid of living things that kind of look like us, and they have, like, little swim trunks that go all the way down to their feet. Just, like a dead fish out of water but underwater. I think that would be scary as fuck. Because they could kind of come up on the beach. Kind of come up on the sand and spread their sandy cheeks. Because they are the star of their movie. God damn it, Ariel. It is weird how redheads come out of water and all of a sudden they're unique. But when they're on Earth, we look at them as less than. But if Ariel were to come to Earth, she would be this beautiful. They would treat her like Meghan Markle and the royal family, which I don't understand how a royal family who literally is only popular and only has an impact in the history just because they had a little bit more money and they called themselves the royal family. Sound like a bunch of royal douchebags. Prince Harry, though, seems kind of cool, though. He seems like a normal dude. The redheaded, ironically, the one who actually fought for the army and stuff. Like, he actually seems like a semi-normal dude, which is, I guess, why him and Meghan disconnected from is it the chapel? I don't think there's a chapel, that's religion, but they do keep their sex affairs in the family, like the Catholic Church, so they might as well be. It is kind of weird how priest and pedophile and predator all starts with the same letter. All three start with P, and they be all probably applying for PPP loans and taking advantage of people's vulnerable states, kind of like pedophiles, kind of like priests, and kind of like predators, taking advantage of vulnerable people. They're all just PPP loans, and y'all are the credit cards because they're just swiping in between y'all's cheeks. And then they just say, it's what God wanted, tongue in cheek. Your credit score, it'll help you out. It'll keep your business alive. It's like, but they didn't have a business before. It's like, yeah, but now they'll have a PPP loan to a business that wasn't a business, but now they can make it a business, which now kind of becomes their business because they don't treat it like a business and they use it for personal. So now it's the taxpayers' business that was never a business. It's kind of weird, kind of contradictory. I know I said business 8 times in a 38-second span, but here we are. It's what happens when I get all up in y'all's business. Speaking of, I should shut the fuck up about other people's business. So, I found out my sister listens to these podcasts, and which means I should probably stop talking about certain things. Every time I see her, she tries to have me tell her dirty jokes. I think it's weird for your sister to ask her brother to tell her dirty jokes. I wonder, thinking out loud here, this is one of those episodes where I'm kind of rambling and just thinking out loud. I wonder if she's trying to get me to tell her dirty jokes so she can steal my jokes and take them to school. So next year when she goes back to school, she seems like she had like one of those like off season, like for football and sports. It's like the off season where you gain like 15 pounds of muscle and you're a completely different person when you come back. But she's trying to be that from a comedic sense and steal my jokes, some I've worked really hard towards. Even though I wouldn't call it like comedy jokes, but they're like fun little jokes. You could go to school, one-liners, cool. Zap, boom, boom, bzz, bazinga, and Buzz Lightyear. It's a vibey sense. So when girls do say it's all about the vibes, do they really mean they just want vibrators while they're connecting with you? I don't know. It's kind of weird. I was actually overhearing a conversation at a place where I hang out. And this girl, I wasn't part of the conversation, but she was talking to a worker there, and she was saying she got stood up the other night. Some dude was supposed to come and give her that Georgia Power pipe, I guess. And, they were trying to keep it underground, keep it under wraps, but I don't think he was going to wear one, but neither here nor there. But, so she invited him, and he canceled, kind of like Georgia Power probably would do an appointment, especially if it's a Friday after 3 o'clock. But she was saying, again, I'm not part of this conversation. I'm a creep. I literally just listen to other people's shit while I'm working on shit, so it's extra content for this shit. And she said that some dude she was talking to for a couple months, and they were, exchanging salivas in places that aren't just the tongues. And he kind of snuck in her ear one night, and he was trying to gravitate her down to an area, but not the front area. Not to get too graphic here, but he was pushing her to the back, and I don't mean the back of the movie theater to stay away from everyone so you can do some things in the back of the movie theater. No, he was directing her to the back. And she obliged because she was like, oh, maybe it's harmless. It's just a little ha-ha play. So I guess she was double rimming him for a little bit with her tongue. Just a little lick, a little slick lick. And I guess he liked it so much that he got on all fours like a little dog. Except he's kind of being a little cat right now because he's trying to take it like some pussy. And apparently, see, this is where I didn't even believe her story, but whatever. Apparently he goes under his bed and he pulls out a strap. And I'm not talking about the ones you wear for self-defense. I'm talking about the ones where you want someone to put it on you and attack you, really, really attack you. And he wanted her to put on the strap and strap them cheeks up. And she followed through with it. Not because she necessarily wanted to, but she was afraid to say no or yes. She was so in shock because there was no indication this man would want to be strapped from the back. But then after they had a little conversation, he said that was great. The only thing that would make it better is if next time, this is his words, not mine, if he was giving head while she was fucking him in the ass. And I'm just like, bro, I think you got the whole centipede thing wrong. God gave you the parts to put on her, or at least someone to go inside of her. Like, damn, the two dudes are getting all the benefits, and she's just fucking up her hip flexors that she's probably never had to activate, because as a woman, you never have to activate those hip flexor muscles like that. But it's crazy things you hear when you're creeping. Moral of the story is to everyone out there, stop speaking so fucking loud on business that shouldn't be spoken so fucking loud. I should not know the dude's name that wanted you to do that. I know his name. I'm not going to say it on here because I have a below non-national platform. I'm not going to do that. But damn, can people learn how to shut the fuck up about their personal business? That really personal? I mean, Jesus. Just putting this dude's, just airing his business out. You're airing it out more than his booty hole when you were going all in. All the air seeping in and out. Seeping in and out like all the shit that's coming in and out of your mouth. Because you don't know when to shut the fuck up about things. Let the man get pegged. That's fine. Just don't tell everyone his personal business when obviously he doesn't want people to know his personal business. But I'm going to say it's probably not the first time. But shout out to him for living his truth. Even if he's not ready to actually, be truthful to everyone else. But hey, keep your manhood. It matters. Speaking of lack of manhood, I stubbed my toe today. And I saw some online where when you stub your toe, and I stubbed my big right toe. So I thought the only solution is, see, this would have been the one example that I actually have one of those squeezing fucking peanut butter things, but I didn't have one of those. So I got my peanut butter jar, got a knife, spread it on the toe that was hurt, and then put some jelly on it, and then it was no longer jammed. That's a neck. That's not even good, Clint. I should have not even mentioned the jelly part. I fucked up the joke. I just came up with that one. Not that that's one to be proud of, but fuck me. Flip a coin. Rusty. I'm rusty. Rusty, I just need to iron some things out like we're on the greens, like Tiger when he's driving off the highway because he's probably on 18 different drugs. That dude is still suffering, man. He's still suffering. I do feel for that man. He is suffering. But I think they just did some PGA thing with him, Brady, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, and like Phil Mickelson. So, it's going to be a lot of white scamming going on this weekend. I have been seriously thinking about it as a side hustle. Not even a hustle. It'd be kind of cool to do, though, to make it kind of at least like a living. I've really thought about getting into sports gambling or just kind of gambling in general, but specifically sports, because I know everyone says that everyone that watches sports thinks that they're actually good at it, and they're probably not actually identifying what's important to look at when you're betting on sports and shit. But I truly do feel like I would actually be pretty decent because I look at the right things. I'm thinking about making that my full-time thing when I start. I'm thinking about starting it maybe next week. Actually, I'm going to start it when football season comes because once the NBA Finals, there's really nothing to fucking bet on. And I would never bet on myself for anything. It's just fucking crazy. Who bets on themselves? Isn't that the definition of narcissism? Ego? Betting on yourself? It's not really. It's called confidence. Confidence, ego, narcissism. It's all the same. Only difference is if you don't like someone, you're just going to put the negative label. And if you like someone, you're going to put the positive label. See? It's amazing. Two words literally mean the same thing. But depending on what your perception or whether you like the person or not, you're going to use the word that either negatively or positively fits the same characteristic. It's crazy how the world works. What do I know? I'm just a dude in his room with no background. Had to basically interrupt this video twice to turn down the dimming. Speaking of audio where none of this makes any fucking sense. And then, later tonight, I'm going to go fuck myself. Nothing wrong with that. Put on some nice gray bed sheets. And the only thing gray going on in here is the 50 Shades of Depression. And so, that pales in comparison. Because don't let the paint job fool you. I got hops to jumping to conclusions that aren't there. Projecting. I love projecting. Like in 6th grade where we used to have the projector and they would put it on the fucking whiteboard or put on the thing they pull down but it wouldn't stay down. Kind of like blinds. Kind of like blinds where I live. Like you pull it, you like pull the thing down but it doesn't go down so you have to manually adjust it. Speaking of manually adjust, I have adjusted my nuts 4 times during this fucking podcast. That's we're at 29 minutes, so that means it's about 1 every 5 minutes and 40 seconds I've adjusted. 3 times the left, once the right. Is it because of a balance issue? Possibly. Right's always better than the left. Dominant, not dominant. Which characteristic are you? Because I'm neither. But anyways, because I'm right in the middle. Like the center. Do you ever wonder, I don't know why I'm saying do you wonder, you're not fucking here. But do you ever wonder if the decisions we make when we think we're being selfish, we're actually being unselfish? I know that's really a bunch of double negatives there, and it goes against everything I believe in when I ask questions. But by default, when we're making decisions that we think are 100% for us and we have no one else in consideration when we make decisions, people will always try to turn things to justify it. But I do believe that when you make a decision 100% for you, right, and think of no one else in consideration, and you will take whatever territory may come with whatever decision you make. And then, are you actually being unselfish? Because typically, people are happier with the decisions they make in the long run when they make selfish decisions. But in the short term, you're going to feel happier when you make unselfish decisions. But in the long term, you're actually going to be happier when you make selfish decisions. Because you're going to have like that moment, you're going to have like that brief period after you think you did something that was quote unquote the right thing to do. Or you did right by someone, or you made a decision because that's what someone else needed from you. But you know that's not the decision that needed to be made, or the inevitable is going to end up being the decision you needed to make, but you decided to make the other one for someone else's comfort, blah, 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 whatever. But when you make an unselfish decision, but you know it's not the right one for you, but you're doing the right thing, quote unquote. In the short term, you can feel good because you feel like, wow, I'm a good person. I did the right thing. They're not going to hate me forever when the truth comes out. No. But when you make a selfish decision, it's by default, typically, it's called selfish because it means you're putting your self-interest in front of what someone else. In terms of, let me rephrase that. You're putting your self-interest in what you want and what you feel or blah, blah, blah. Knowing that the result of this selfish decision is probably going to hurt or make someone else feel some type of way. Whoever that person may be, in whatever capacity the situation applies to. Short term, it's going to hurt because even when you make the right decision for yourself, it doesn't feel good to know that it negatively affected someone. And to anyone that says, I'm going to do me and anyone else, if it's hurt, oh well, not my problem. It's like, yeah, any decent person, it's not that easy. You're not just going to act like it doesn't bother you deep down. You may know you did the right thing, and you may deal with it and move forward, but that doesn't mean you're a robot. That doesn't mean that it wasn't in consideration. It's like, it hurts. Whatever that decision may be, it's not easy. But it's better for the long run. You didn't do what made you feel good for the moment. You did what's going to make you better for the long haul. And it's something I thought of a little bit recently. Like, selfish decisions are actually always the better decisions because in the long run, it's going to make the most sense. And at least you get to say you're probably going to be happier because of it. Because again, it's about you. We're all about us. We should always be considerate of others, but at the end of the day, we have to be more considerate of us. It's just a reality. But I will say this. You are not on this earth for anyone else, but you still have an obligation to be considerate of others. I do feel that. I know it's a lot of contradictions here, man. It really is. But you know what? So is PETA. Here we are. It's always crazy people that come out and defend. PETA comes out and fucking talks about animal cruelty and shit, but spaying and neutering your animal. That's cool. Yeah, that's not. Let's cut off reproduction. Yeah, we care about our dogs and cats so fucking much. Like, yeah, like your kid. I'm going to stop your... Imagine at 9 years old. Not put birth control in your daughter. No. Where she literally permanently... You do some at the age of 9. Where she can never have kids. At the age of 9, you do that. Imagine that. She didn't even have the chance to, when she becomes 22, 23, 24, 28, 30, to be able to raise a family of her own and create her own legacy, because it would be too inconvenient for you and it would be too hard for you. At the age of 9, you made that decision. But luckily, I don't think you could really do that with kids. You could put them on birth control and stuff and fuck up their hormones anyways. Either way, you're fucking up their lives anyways. But with cats and dogs, we call them our little kids. They're better than humans. Even though we just pass them around the second they become the slightest of inconvenience. Could you imagine if with your child, when they became the slightest bit of inconvenience, you just auctioned them off and you just gave them to the neighbor. You just gave them to your coworker from work and said, you can have them. So it was two weeks, and then a week later, your dog was like, what the fuck? I'm in this fucking 3-story house. Before it was a 1-story house. What the fuck's going on? Just put them in a cage, drop them off, and say, bye, bud. Imagine if you do that with kids. Nah. You know why you don't do it with kids? Because the child fucking services. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. But we treat animals like they're so great. And I do think animals are great. My point is that if animals are so great, then stop treating them like they're not great. We do things. Oh, our cats and dogs, we love them so much, but I'm not going to let to you as a cat or dog who has a shorter life than us to be able to feel the feeling of recreating life. You can't have kids, but you get to play with mine and keep them busy while I'm just ignoring them. And you get to, they get to fucking hit you on top of the head, and they get to scratch your belly and dress you up and dehumanize you. Well, not dehumanize because you're an animal, but they get to de-animalize you. It's a shame. It's a fucking shame. But I'm going to do deep dive on that. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds there. But Sha'Carri Richardson should have been able to run. But the rules are the rules. I don't know. It does suck though. Alright. Oh. Nothing like a good old poke in the gooch. I can't use that again. I already used that for another episode. Oh God. She said, can I get you home? Yeah. Nothing like wearing a hoodie inside when you're circumcised. I've never understood. You know what's funny? I never even heard that term. Like, I didn't even understood what the circumcision, uncircumcision thing was until like high school, or like even not that far after. I never knew what an uncircumcised penis looked like. I've had people have described it to me, and I think it came across an image one day, and I'm like, that looks really fucking weird. Why would you have so much extra skin and shit? I look at mine and I'm like, I imagine my penis, right? I imagine my penis I imagine if it wasn't circumcised. I just imagine how much more complicated my cleaning process would be. Would I have to like literally tuck the skin back in and make sure with my poof or with my rag or sometimes my bare hands, whatever I'm in the mood in. Do I have to like get in to make sure there's no, you know, extra like things that get in there? Like not even being funny. Like you may like, I don't even know. You may get like some tissue paper from the back. I don't know. Like, get a little extra things just stuck in there. If you're outside, if you're exercising, working out, like, is it going to smell worse because it's more skin it's like in between the armpits, right? It's like in between the armpits when it gets really sweaty and shit, and it's nasty. And like, and you have BO and shit. Do you have like BO but in the skin? Never understood the Jewish slander. I mean, it's always being Jewish is always like this running joke, and like I kind of understand some of them now, but like I would always hear like in stand-ups and stuff like 90% of these Jewish jokes, so I would not understand because I'm not Jewish. Where I grew up, there wasn't a whole lot of yarmulkes or nothing. Like you learn about the Holocaust. That's about all we care about Judaism. Because honestly, like the only thing that's really prevalent is Christianity, and yeah. I learned more about the Muslim religion when I dated a girl that was Muslim. Well, she wasn't Muslim, but her whole family was. And her family was Muslim, but she wasn't. And thank God, because it's a good thing Allah did not see that. Thank God she wasn't, if you get my drift. She did end up stealing my car, though, so God ended up working out in her favor. But then God worked out in my favor because the car sucked so bad. It only lasted 2 weeks after she stole it, and then she tried to fucking get me the pay. Oh, go fuck yourself, you cunt. Ah, God. Anyways, but assalamu alaikum. All respect to Muslim culture. Not culture, religion. What a fucking idiot. I don't know. Culture is such a generic term. It's one of those terms like, I feel like culture is like this broad term that we use when it's not like a religion, when it's not a faith of some sort. It's really just used, it ends up being applied to, it could be applied to like nationalities or like certain countries. Like they may have a specific culture. But since in America there's so many different cultures, we sometimes improperly put them in columns that, like, we know what people, like, when someone says blah 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 is culture, like, we know technically that's probably not the right terminology, but we know what they mean. Yeah, the word culture, I think sometimes it's misproperly used. Like, we just be throwing culture onto everything. Like, it's just the culture of the workplace. This workplace, like, like someone sleeping with the 16-year-old at a job. That's not a culture of a workplace. There's actually terms for that. It's called jail. Yeah, we just use very generic quote-unquote culture things. Culture. When there's actual things that apply to it. But we'll just place on anything now. Like people say white people don't have culture. I'm like, honestly, I'll say like this, like, not that, I think people sometimes culture really equals stereotype, And when people, they'll say, oh, that's their culture. It's like, nah, not really. Like, not specifically. It's like people, I think basically, my opinion is that I think a lot of people, when they talk about other people's quote unquote cultures that they may not be well versed on or don't really know much of, but they see, oh, this person associated with this, so that means that's their culture. It's like, or that's just some independently they like to do, or that they like just because that's who they are as an individual. So I think sometimes culture equals stereotype in some people's eyes. And I think a lot of people think that the same thing without knowing that they're thinking of it as the same thing, when really they're two separate ideas, but maybe sometimes they may align and people mash it together. And then we have, this is America. I'm a fucking idiot. I really am. All right. I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Unlike these sessions lately. You get my drift. I'm always waving back, but I love our titles. You don't claim me, but I'll lie for you. And I am lying, and I know. Alright, that's episode 17 of Off and Beat. Hopefully this one actually goes up on the tube. And, oh yeah, remember, go suck some titties. Subscribe, bitch. Remember, draw 2. Or, if you're really feeling it, draw 4. Titties. Alright, go fuck yourself.